Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. As you can see by the name of this video, this is called Why Do I Suck at World of Tanks? Because you're making these common mistakes. If you're making any of these mistakes, this is why you suck at the game. It's simple. The first thing I want to show you lot is right down here. It's this. It's called the mini-map. Okay? Now the reason why it's called a mini-map, because people sit and they play like this. If you're playing your game like this, you are destined to fail. Okay? You do not have your minimap on small. Just because it's called a minimap doesn't mean you have it on small. I mean, look what you can see here. Look what you can see here compared to what you can see here when I make it bigger again. I think there's a button you can do, a quick button, but you know, compared to what you can see now, you can see the whole map. You can see where your allies are. You can see where the enemy are when they're detected. It's so much better to play with a square map than it is to play with a round map. Again, doesn't matter where you have it. I know some people have it over here, some people have it up here. Doesn't matter where you have it. First things first, play with your minimap on square. And the second thing with your minimap, I didn't show you at the start of the game because I was too busy talking. When you load into a game, while you're waiting for the countdown timer, have this screen up. Let me just get somewhere here a second. Have this screen up. Look at your team. Look at the enemy team. Look at the map. Think to yourself, right, where are these guys going? Where are these guys going? You know, heavies, where do heavies usually go? On this map, they usually come around here. Lights and mediums, TDs, up here. Think about the tank you're playing and think about where you're going. That's the first thing I want to talk about why you're bad at this game. Next thing we're going to move on to now is ammo. Okay, ammo is very important. It's what your tank fires. Okay, obviously it's what's going to do damage, what's going to track, blah 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 blah. Each tank will have their own unique kind of ammo set, and some tank, like the E100 here, has another gun. But for now, I'm going to ignore the second gun because not all tanks have them. And to be fair, what's on the one gun is usually on the second. Oh shoot! Oh yeah, see, what's on the one gun is usually on the same gun. As you can see, they're both ammo types and almost the same. So we're going to ignore that for now. In this game, there's 5. No, get it right, Wayne. There's 5 different ammo types, unless they've changed it and added in the stupid rockets, things like that. But I'm ignoring the rockets. I'm straight up ignoring the rockets. You've got AP, and obviously in the E100 you've got heat and you've got HE. Okay. Now there is more because there isn't just that. Let me find someone that actually has it. I think you have it. Or that heat. That's heat. What am I on about? Is that heat as well? That is heat again. Okay. There we go. Right. Then you have things here that are called APCR. Okay. Obviously, AP stands for armor piercing. APCR is armor piercing competent rigid. Yeah, get that right. And heat obviously stands for high explosive anti-tank round. Okay. And then you have HE, which is high explosive. HE does less pen, but does the most damage. And some tanks that you go on, HE is its main thing you're going to fire. Hence the Death Star. Because the Death Star has HE as its third round, obviously. But the Death Star, the British lines, have something called HESH. Yes, I don't know why, but they want to be different. They want to be different. So they have AP, HESH and HE. You don't want to fire HE. If your tank has the ability to fire HESH, you fire HESH. HESH is the better HE. Okay? I mean, you can tell here. HE pen, 92. HESH pen, 240. And you do more damage than the HE. I mean, the HE does more damage, but you know, like you're going to do this damage more consistently than you are with the HE. So if your tank can fire HESH and fire HE, you fire HESH. Okay, HESH and HE work best against lightly armored vehicles. When I say lightly armored vehicles, I mean things like, for example, the FV4005. Okay, that stupid fucking turret. This turret is paper thin. Okay, when you see this and you have the chance to change your ammo, which we'll get to in a minute, you fire HESH or you fire HE. AP is an absolute waste. Heat is an absolute waste. You don't want to be firing them. APCR, again, an absolute waste. You want to fire HESH or HE. Okay? If you're fighting something like a mouse, for example, now I should probably take the skin, I shouldn't have really, so you can see better. Okay, we'll do the Panzer because I haven't got a skin on it. It'll work out better if I use the Panzer. These things, same as the E100, same as the mouse, these things have armor out the wazoo. I guess it's the same with the Jagdpanzer as well. These things have armor out the wazoo. Okay, and when you're fighting these things at long range, you want to fire HE. What am I talking about? You want to fire heat. Heat doesn't lose penetration over distance. Now, what do I mean by that? If you fire AP, okay, it loses penetration over distance. So the longer the shell has to travel from leaving your tank to hitting the target, it loses its pen over distance. Okay? Which means if you're firing against the E100, doesn't matter what gun you're firing from, if you're not firing heat at a distance, you're not doing any damage. And that's why you'll see people and they'll be, oh yeah, okay, go away. You'll see people and they'll be in, for example, the Jagdpanzer, which is a 17 centimeter freaking monster of a gun, and they fire AP at an E100 at distance, and they're thinking, well, why am I not penning him? I know I have more. Oh, mouse, please, mouse there. I know I got more pen. More than enough pen to go through, but I'm shooting him from across the map. I'm hitting him because it's bouncing. Well, you're firing AP. Don't fire AP, you fire heat. You know, heavily armored targets, you fire heat. Don't fire HE or AP or APCR. You fire heat. It's gain knowledge in a way. Once you know that, oh, I'm used to this now. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. It's fine. You'll get it in your head, and it'll just stick. It will literally just stick. Now, the next thing I want to talk about with ammo is light tanks. Have you ever had a light tank, or fast medium, or I mean, even a fast heavy tank or a fast TD, anything? If you ever had them circling you, and you're thinking, well, I can't hit him. I'm locking on, but I can't hit him. I mean, what ammo are you firing? You firing AP? You firing heat? You firing HE? No, absolutely not. Do not fire heat against anything that has spaced armor. That's the first thing I will say. What do I mean by spaced armor? Okay, let's take the Iron Giant for example. Can you see the front of the gun here? You see how there's a shield that goes around? If you fire heat at this front plate, it will go through the plate, and then when it gets to this part here, the actual armor of the gun mantle, the armor of the gun, it's lost so much pen going through here, it will not go through here. And that is the same with these on the side, where it says Henri the Giant. That's spaced armor down here. That's spaced armor. You'll lose so much going through there as well. So many tanks now have spaced armor just because of people firing heat at them. So do not fire heat at spaced armor. Okay, let's see if I can find another example. You fire a Type 5 heavy, again, even if you're close up or at distance, heat. Heat all day, but do not fire. Can you see where the front wheel is here? Now you have to imagine that the tracks go down the side, and then all the way down there, obviously goes back down here. You're thinking, oh, I want to track him. I want to track him so my teammates can shoot him, because if you look, you can see there, it's a straight line. So if you shoot at the side of the tank here, it's going to hit this side plate right here, and then once it goes through that side plate, however thick it is, it then has to go through the tracks. Okay? If we say, just to make it easier for my head, because my maths is not brilliant, if a heat round will pen 200 mils, just say, off the top of my head, right? We say this little bit of spaced armor here on the side of the Type 5 is 50 mils. Okay, you're thinking, right, it'll go straight through there, and then once it goes through there, you have to knock off 50 mils of pen on that heat round because it's used it to go through this piece of armor. So now let's say the tracks are 100. Okay, so it'll go through there, it'll go through the tracks. So there's 150 of the 200 gone. And then the actual armor of the tank is, say, 200. Well, it's not going to go through it because you've lost 150 of your pen just going through the side and the tracks. Do you know what I mean? Does it make sense now? So that's why when you're shooting at something with speed like this and it has the tracks on the side or the spaced armor and you're thinking, well, why is it not penning with heat? I should always pen with heat, blah, 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 blah. That's why you're not penning shots with heat. Okay? Now, if you're facing something that's quick and they're circling you and you're thinking, oh, I'm not hitting him, why am I not hitting him? What ammo do you think I'm going to say to fire against a target that is quick? Yep, that's right. APCR. APCR. APCR has a faster speed of travel. Okay? Let me show you. So, here we have the TVP T5051. It has heat, it has APCR, and it has HE. Now, can you see here where it says speed? Ammo speed. I might even on the cursor right, yeah. Ammo speed, okay? It says 900 milliseconds. So it'll travel 900 milliseconds from obviously when you fire it, okay? Each thing has a different travel speed. Obviously the HE and the heat are quite similar, even though I'm pretty sure in real life the heat is slower because it's a thicker shell. But anyway, this is a game. So, but if I go to APCR, can you see? Can you see how the ammo speed's gone from 900 to 1,400? Because the APCR is quicker. It's a quicker shell. So if you can imagine you're getting chased around by a light tank who's constantly circling you, and you're tapping whichever button it is to auto lock, and you're firing thinking, oh, I can hit this guy, no problem. No, do not tap auto lock. It won't do anything. Auto lock, all that'll do is try and keep your turret and your gun on target. Okay, that's just to help you. What you want to do is, if you're chasing a light tank, it's circling you, you're chasing it, what you want to do is you want to turn the hull the same direction the light tank is going around you. Whichever direction that tank is going, turn your hull that way, and turn your turret at the same time. If you're turning your hull and the turret, it will turn faster. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make it easier, and I'll just show you what I mean by that. What shall we do? I should probably edit this out, shouldn't I, really? Let's go back to the King Dragon again. Different tanks have different turning speeds for their traverse, I get the name right in a minute, traversing speed and turret rotation speed. Okay? Turret rotation speed's a biggie, because if you're tracked, obviously, well, you can't turn your tank, you can turn your turret. But we're going to imagine, when I actually get into a smecking game, that we are currently being chased by a light tank, and they're circling us, and they're shooting us, and they're, you know, it's really annoying. Come on. Yeah, I'm sorry for how long this video is going to be, but there's a lot of information we need to get through. I will cut it down as best I can, but obviously there's only so much I can cut down considering I'm trying to give you guys information about things. Okay, so I'll just put that out there. I can't figure out, I'm going to have to figure out how to timestamp things for YouTube. Make it easier. Right, first thing, I'm going to lock my turret in place. Because if you hold right bumper, it is on the Xbox anyway, you can lock your turret. Look, because I'm moving and the turret's moving, blah 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 blah. So what we're going to do is now, I'm going to wait for it to go to 40 seconds on the timer, and then I'm going to just turn the hull to the left and see how long it takes to do a full rotation. There you go. So that is a full rotation done, and it's about 7-8 seconds. Okay, so you imagine now you are being chased around by a light tank, and you're turning, thinking, well, I need to get it. Okay, turn your turret. Look at this. Look at how fast your turret turns. Because you're turning the hull and the turret at the same time. They're both turning at the same time. Where if I just turn the turret, look, it's really slow. If you turn the hull, it's quick. It goes a lot quicker. So don't be one of them people and just stand there and just like, oh, I'm going to turn the turret, try and get you. No, turn the entire tank with you. Again, if they go the other way, turn the other way. It works. Try and get into your head as well. If you're being chased by a light tank, look down the sight and turn it at the same time. Try and get your gun just in front of the light tank. Okay? Just in front. And when you see it, just in front, you fire. 9 times out of 10, you're going to hit them. Okay? Right. That's ammo done. That's going to be a long video. Right, on to the next one. Right, this is an additional to the ammo one because I forgot about it and I need to add it in because it's very important to the ammo section. So even though I did say at the end, oh, on to the next one, just ignore that. I'll hopefully try and cut it out, but we'll see. Don't be one of those people, when they run their tanks, don't be one of those people that don't add premium rounds, don't add HE, don't add standard. Just run premium, just run AP, just run HE. Don't do that, okay? With all the equipment in the game nowadays, you don't need to run one type of ammo. Okay? I mean, you can see that I've got that on some tanks, but if you look up here, I have never used the vehicle. It's got no XP. Okay? There's not many vehicles out there that I play that has 0 ammo in one section. See, they've all the ones that I've played, they've all got ammo in all different sections, except for the ones I haven't played, like I said. So, it's just an additional thing. Don't be that person that doesn't run AP, or doesn't run premium, or doesn't run HE, or doesn't run standard, or whatever. You have enough room in your ammo count to run as many different ones as you can. And I know people out there are going to say it, so I'm going to bring it up right now as well, if I can find it first. Where's my Death Star? There it is. Death Star has a low ammo count, as you can see, 17 and 3. You want to bring mostly HESH with the Death Star. Everyone knows that. It's Death Star. Don't bother with HE, because if you're going to fire HE, then you're not going to fire HESH, because you just... I can take move over. Let's just pause that a second. Yeah, so don't be the person that just brings HESH and think, oh, I'm going to have some fun with HESH. Just bring the odd piece of AP. Because you're going to get them targets where they're going to have spaced armor, or you're not going to be able to pen them, and you think to yourself, well, if only I brought AP. So, there you go. This works hand to hand with intuition, which is what we got onto with the equipment. So watch that part about the equipment. Make sure you bring the right ammo types, and don't just bring one type of ammo. Okay? Now we're going to move on. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about now is equipment. And I'm going to talk about something very, very important about equipment. Every tank is set up differently. Okay? Don't find one piece of equipment and think, okay, right, what we're going to do, I'm just going to put this on, I'm going to put this on, I'm going to put this on, and then just run with it. Because you're not going to get the most out of that vehicle if every piece of equipment you use on every single tank is the same. Don't do it. Okay? Yes, it does depend a lot on the tank you're using, and yes, it does depend on your play style with that vehicle. Okay? If you're using something like, for example, we'll take the Death Star. Okay? I run coated optics, I run improved vents, I run gun rammer, and I run loaded shell exchanger. Loaded shell exchanger I run on pretty much every single vehicle I run that can have it, and I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, now the problem we have, let's say you're running the Death Star, you've just brought it, and you think, okay, what's the best thing to have? Toolbox, equipment. Okay, you can, I guess you can use it, but if I'm honest, it's going to be a bit of a waste on the Death Star. Okay, because if you're being chased by a light tank, a medium, you're being rushed by multiple vehicles, and you fired your shot, they're going to rush you because they know you've got a long reload. You're pretty much screwed. Okay, so a toolbox is something that I wouldn't run on not a lot of vehicles. The only vehicle I would really run a toolbox on is things that rely on you having your gun pointed at them. So vehicles that haven't got a turret. Okay, that's how I would run that kind of a toolbox. You know, vehicles that haven't got a turret and rely on you just staying in front. Next is a spool liner. Now this is very, very good. A spool liner. You want to run this on vehicles such as the Mouse, the E100. You know, your big heavy tanks. Ones that are going to be made for being front line, being in the fight, being in the brawl. Because this is just going to make your crew survive better. Let me get the mouse. You know, your crew's going to be better. How much damage you do from ramming is better. Non-pen ammo, so splash ammo. It reduces how much splash ammo is. And with the stupid squares out there, that's all we're going to be doing. Then you've got, you know, module damage, so it protects your module, so your tracks are more likely not to be taken out. You know, it's better to just run spool liner on a heavy type of vehicle. Then you've got things like binoculars and coated optics. Now, these basically do the same thing. Okay, binoculars is better for view range if you're stationary. If you're playing a light tank or a medium with good view range and you're stationary and you know you're going to be stationary for longer than 3 seconds, run binoculars. It's just better. If you're playing a light tank or a medium that is quick and all you're going to be doing is darting around and the tank itself doesn't have good view range, use coated optics. So I'm talking like if you're using the wheeled vehicles for the French. Their view range is terrible because, I mean, they're wheeled tanks. You're meant to be rolling around being a nuisance. Coated optics. All day, every day. Coated optics on that. And again, if you're going to be sitting still and you're using binocs, you want to have a camera net. Okay, because the camera net gets activated obviously after the tank becomes stationary. Okay, I'll skip ahead. That's camera net, my bad. I'll skip ahead, my bad. Improved concealment. Slightly reduces tank's detection, active all times, does not stack with a camera net, but yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, you want that on again if you're going to be playing a tank and you want to play a light tank or you're not going to be doing much firing, things like that. Then you've got reinforced suspension. This helps your track durability and damage from environments. So what I mean by damage from environments is if you fall off like a little hill or something. We've all done it. Gone over a little hill, hit on the floor, and the tank's blown up, or you've taken damage, you've been tracked, blah blah blah. Reinforced suspension just basically stops that from happening. Okay, it basically gives your tracks like protection. Basically, that's the easy way of putting it. It gives your tanks protection, your track protection. Improved vents. Run this on most of your vehicles if you can. Open vehicles will not be able to run improved vents. Okay, but if your tank's enclosed, run improved vents. It makes your vehicle 5% better with your crew performance, which we'll get to crew in I think the next part of the video. So I'll come back to this with the crew and make it easier. A gun rammer. Now, this one's a bit of a weird one because a gun rammer improves, obviously, makes your reload time better, but it doesn't make your reload time as good as you think. Okay, if you're using a tank such as, again, my Death Star here, it's got a long reload time as it is. Okay, running a gun rammer is pretty pointless. Okay, I run it because I'm weird. But running a gun rammer is pretty pointless on a tank that has a long reload because you're not really cutting the time down. Okay, does that make sense? If you're running, say, a tortoise, I should probably just start with that, shouldn't I, really? If you're running, the Badger. If you're running the Badger, okay, you want gun rammer on a Badger because it's one of the fastest reloading tanks in the game. Why not make that better? Okay? Do you see what I mean by that? If you're running a tank that's got a long reload, having a gun ram is pretty pointless. Why do I have it? It's probably what you're saying now, isn't it? Why got it then? I don't know. I think I'm just weird. I should probably take that off, really. I should probably take that off, but there's not really that much that I want to put on my Death Star that I think would help. So, it's hit and miss, but if you're running a medium, it hasn't got a long reload, you could swap out your gun rammer and get a better piece of equipment. Do you know what I mean? It's not needed. It really is not needed. Then you've got gun lane drive. Now, the aiming speed. This is, you know, when you look at a target and your circle in the middle of your screen goes smaller, and it takes time for it to go really small. This increases the time it takes to go small. Decreases the time it takes to go really small. Okay, so obviously you can aim faster. If you have a tank that's got a really shite aim speed, there you go. Slap it on that. Easy. Simple. Okay, additional grocers. Here we go. Now, these work hand in hand with a crew perk, which I'll get to obviously when I bring the crew perks up. If you're going to run additional grocers, hull rotation speed, handling on all terrains, this basically makes your tracks. I think in real life they change them from it's like a plasticky compound. I think I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Or rubber? Is it rubber? Is it metal to rubber? I'm not sure. Someone let me know in the comments anyway. I'm dumb. But yeah, what this does, it's what it says in the tin. It increases your hull rotation speed and helps your all-terrain on all. Helps your hull rotation speed and handling on all terrain. So when we went back to the bit before about the shells and the aiming speed, with your hull turning, your hull rotation speed, that will help. Okay, so I would put that on a Badger, a T95, that sort of things that you're going to get flanked a lot. Okay, that's that one. Turbocharger, hey, here we go. Oh, here we go. Now, a turbocharger increases your max speed and max horsepower. On the PC, this thing is an absolute beast on the PC because you have improved equipment on the PC. Xbox is a pretty much waste of time. Okay, 5% increase to horsepower, 5% on the max speed. I personally don't see it. But I don't really play tanks that are fast, like my Snakebite. I guess you probably could put it on there, but you're never really going to see it because not every battle's going to be the same. And that's just a personal thing for me. But that's what that does. Now, here we go. Now we're getting to the fun things. Shell Loading Exchanger. Or, in brackets, it's called Intuition. Yes, Intuition. I'm sure you've all heard that before. This allows you to change shell types mid-battle or mid-reload, whichever one comes first, and you do not have to it does not affect your reload. Okay? This works absolutely wonders on tanks like the Death Star, like a house. You know, if you know what the house is, you know who I am. You can't use it on that because it's an auto-loader. E100, Mouse, things like that. Things that have really long reloads, this works absolute wonders because you don't have to sit there and think, oh, I'm firing AP here. Oh, I wish I had HESH loaded. I'll just tap whichever button it is to change your ammo, and it changes to HESH, and you don't have to reload. I run this on pretty much every single tank that I can put it on because it's just so good. It's just so good, especially when you're that type of person who wants to fire the right ammo for the right job. Okay, that's it. You're firing the right ammo for the right job. That's what you want. You use Intuition, as I call it. Those, you know, advanced loading, blah blah blah. Here we go. Increase reinforced internals. I think I got that right. Increase ammo rack, engine and fuel tank durability. Again, you could run this hand in hand with Spooliner because they will work together. Okay, this just gives you less chance of the engine being damaged, your fuel tank setting on fire, your ammo rack going up. So again, use it on your heavy tanks. Use it on tanks that you know, you constantly repairing your fuel tanks, like the mouse. Everyone knows what the fuel tanks are on the mouse. There you go. Use that. Now, camouflage net, like I got confused last time. You want to run the camo net with the binocs. Them two work hand in hand together. They always will. They always will. When you stay stationary for a certain amount of time, on the minimap, you'll notice down here, obviously I'm not in the game so you can't really see it, but on the minimap, you'll notice down here, when your camo net becomes active, your spotting distance ring shrinks. Okay, obviously when you fire, obviously it'll go up again, but when your spotting distance ring will shrink, and when it shrinks, it's your camo net. You're less likely to be detected. I've played tanks like the Vanguard and ran a camo net, and I've had people like 100 meters in front of me and I'm sitting in a bush and they haven't spotted me. It works good with some tanks, but not with others. Excuse me. Oh, I've never talked so much in my life. Right, flash hider. This, you know, when you fire a shot, you have the flame that comes out the end, the flash that comes out the end. All this does is just makes it so it's not so big. I mean, I know you don't really see it because obviously you're looking down the sights, you don't really see it anyway. But obviously in real life, if you see a flash come from however far in front of you, you know a tank's just shot. You know they've shot before you've even seen them. So, yeah, again, it's one of those pieces of equipment that I guess if you want to snipe at the back of the map, yeah, go ahead and use it, but not really usable. Not really usable. Low, here we go, engine noise, because yeah, this is like taking your car for an MOT, this is. When you're moving a vehicle, it drops your camo factor, okay? A camo factor on a vehicle is better when it's stationary. Every single vehicle has a moving camo factor and a stationary camo factor. Shit. Always use, if you're going to be sitting still, or you're not going to be moving as much, again, I'd use this, low noise, but it's not really worth it, in my opinion. It really is not really worth it. But, what do I know? I've just, you know, did near 36,000 battles in this game. So what do I know? But yeah, every tank will have its own unique way you can set it up. Every tank you can set up differently, depending on the scenario you're going to play. You just have to experiment. You know what I mean? Just experiment. You'll get it in the end. You'll get it in the end. But yeah, right. Move on to the next one now. Right then, the next and last part that will help you win more battles is your crew. Just as important as your equipment, okay? The crew. So is your skills. You can basically ignore most of this stuff. Now I know, like, you know, obviously I got the Krampus here, which is a 3D. It's a 3D crew, but it works with every single one, whether it's a 3D or not. You just get less options when it comes up. Okay, but this is all we're focused on is your skills. Now then, when you have a premium crew, you already have some slots unlocked. Okay, I'm using the Krampus because I've got nothing. I've never used him, but he's here anyway. Looking at his ugliness. You select that. Now, I will just point out one thing before we start. They changed the crews, okay? Because I think I would have made a video on the crews, but they changed it a while back, and now every single person now has this little bulb down here, which is 6 cents. It tells you when your tank's been spotted, okay? That's it. Every single perk gets that. Before, you used to have to choose it. But anyway, never run a tank without a crew. Never run a tank without a crew. Even if you have nothing on it, never run a tank without a crew. It's just better with a crew. Everything about your tank gets better. Especially if you combine things like... Oh, smeg, it's out of my head. Oh, smeg, it's out of my head. Ventilation. There you go. Especially if you run ventilation, it just makes your crew better in general, even if it has no perks. It has no skills, okay? So, obviously now we're going to go through the perks. There's a lot of them. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. I will try and go through it as quick as I can without explaining too much, but I guess we'll see. Quick learner. And a premium crew, quick learner is pretty much pointless, because if you look up here, they get 130% crew XP. Okay, so quick learner is pretty much freaking pointless on a premium crew, so I'll just cross over that completely. Born Leader is worth it. Born Leader is worth it on most of your crews. Again, it depends on the tank you play. It's worth it. Jack of all trades, for a low tier crew, so a crew that hasn't got anything on, so I would say maybe slot number 2. So maybe a second perk you can work on. I'd say Jack of all trades. What this allows is for your commanders to take out, if your gunner gets taken out, he'll take over the gunner role, so you haven't got to like worry about that and lose so much of your firepower, you know, all that kind of crap. Yeah, I've never talked so much in my life. Give me a break. Next is Final Stand. 100% add it on. 100% add it on. Have it as your first ever one. I do. If your tank goes under 10% HP, it gets significantly better. Now, imagine a tank that doesn't take long to reload. You get under 10% HP and you're firing fast every single time. It's just so much better. So get that. Expert Gunner. 6% increase the chance of damage gun accuracy, blah blah blah. It's okay. It's up to you whether you run it. There's a lot here that are going to be like that. 30% increase to accuracy of a damaged gun. If your tank's going to get shot a lot and you're going to lose your gun a lot, again, worth it. Go for it. Rapid aim. Increase the turret and gun rotation speed. Do you remember what I was on about before? About the ammo and turning your turret and turning your hull? It works good with that. Snapshot. Increase your accuracy of a turning turret. So what this does is when you're turning your turret, remember I said about the bloom on the gun? You have to, the aiming bloom. It makes it so the turret doesn't go out as much. There you go. Yeah. Okay, run and gun increase to accuracy when moving. Again, it kind of self-explanatory. When you're moving your tank, if you're playing a light tank trying to circle somebody, use that. Clutch breaker, increase the turret's vehicle rotation speed. Really only use that on like a vehicle like a T95, mouse, things like that where it's just really slow. You'll get the best benefit from things like that. Rollover recovery. Now it's funny about rollover recovery because I don't use that at all until this Christmas event, and I'll show you why. Because Christmas event, I'm pretty sure you've seen my video on it. When your tank flips over, it just rotates. It just flips over faster. That's all this does. It's 50% faster. It does work, but I'm sorry if you're flipped over 90% of the time in the middle of a battle, you're probably gonna die anyway. So you're gonna be killed. So yeah. Off-road driving just increases your handling on soft terrain, medium terrain, hard terrain. Again, light tank, fast medium, put it on. Ramming, you want this on things like your E50M, a tank you're going to ram people a lot. Put it on that. You'll get a lot better with that. Camouflage, again, if you're going to be a scout, you're going to camouflage, you're going to sit in the bush, the same, get that. Green thumb, again, you're in a bush, same thing again. Situation awareness, have that on most of your vehicles. It's always good to have increased view range, even if it's a really heavy tank that aren't meant to be spotting people. If you're like at a 1v5 and you have situation awareness, you can spot people at distance that you wouldn't normally be able to spot them, which means they haven't got to getting 3 shots on you. Radio damage decreases the spot time by only by 3 seconds, and you're not going to really much notice. I never noticed that at all, really. I've got it on the odd tank, but I don't notice it at all. I mean, these two kind of work hand in hand with each other, because this one keeps the vehicle spotted for 3 seconds, and this one keeps the vehicle undetected for 3 seconds less. So basically, if someone's running that, the comms expert, I can't say. If someone's running that, and you're spotted for 13 seconds, okay? If you're running the radio jammer, you're only going to be spotted for 10 seconds. Yeah, there you go. So they kind of work hand in hand with each other, if you know what I mean. Increase the consumable recharge speed. If you're using premium consumables, when you've used it, obviously there's a countdown timer, isn't there? It just makes it faster. Again, not really noticeable, but each their own. Fire safety training, this just decreases the chance of you getting a fire and makes it so they can put out a fire faster if you do not have a fire extinguisher, which most people don't run fire extinguisher. I know I don't really, except for the mouse. I do for the mouse because it's just prone to being set alight. Safe storage just increases the ammo rack durability, so, and damage obviously ammo rack by 50%. So it just means that if you're shot in the ammo rack, you've got less chance of it blowing up. Again, it's up to you wherever you run it. I don't really find much use for it really, personally. Armor angling, 5% decrease to armor for damage received. Again, I'd put this on a heavy tank that's going to be a front line brawler. You'll get the most out of it. Simple. Pain tolerance, 20% decrease or chance of a crew injury. So from artillery, if artillery is shooting you and they're constantly knocking out your driver, your gunner, if you had that happen to you all the time, put that on. It's worth it. General mechanic, put this on. Every tank needs this. Put it on. This goes hand to hand with this one, trap mechanic. If you have trap mechanic and general mechanic on your vehicle, well, think about it. That's 10% and 25%. You're going to have a 35% faster of putting your tracks back on the tank. So that's less time you've got to use for your repair kits. So for a tank like T95, where you want to keep people in front of you, there you go, put that on. And again, the same thing as the track mechanic is obviously the wheel mechanic, 15% faster. Put that on with your general mechanic, and you've got 25% faster in putting your wheels back on, I should say. I don't know why they didn't make it 25, but yeah, so you had 25% increase on that, and that's pretty much it. Try not to run a tank without a crew. You know, always look down the bottom left, down here, and it'll say whether it has a crew or not. You always want to run a tank that has a crew. You always want to run a tank that has a crew. And then down here, obviously, you can see all the crew perks on here. Changing crew into premium tanks doesn't cost anything. Okay, so there you go. Do me a favour, guys. If you found this video helpful at all, please let me know. This took me a long time to make. It took me a really long time to make. I would appreciate it as well. But thank you very much. I probably missed things. Let me know if I did. And if you found this helpful, please let me know again. And I will have to do another one. I have to do another update at some point with other stuff. But after, what, about 3 hours of recording and editing, I think I'm done. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you all had fun. I'll see you all next video. See you later.